On the 22nd of June, 2025, Senator Chuck Schumer stood before reporters in Washington, D.C., and unveiled a plan that could reshape the lives of millions of Americans who depend on Social Security, supplemental security income, and Social Security disability insurance. The announcement marked a turning point in what has become one of the most pressing national conversations: how to protect and strengthen the benefits that seniors and disabled Americans rely on every month. Schumer made it clear that this was not just another policy proposal but a direct response to growing concerns that the Social Security Administration has been underfunded, understaffed, and overburdened for far too long. His plan, titled the Social Security Stabilization and Service Protection Act, calls for restoring local field offices, increasing staff, modernizing outdated systems, and providing a temporary emergency benefit increase to help older Americans face record inflation. For decades, Social Security has been more than a monthly payment. It has been the foundation of retirement security for working Americans. But in recent years, that foundation has started to crack. Many have seen their local offices close, their calls go unanswered, and their disability applications delayed for months. Schumer's plan aims to reverse that trend. He said that under his proposal, the federal government would restore full funding to the Social Security Administration, reopen shuttered offices, and hire enough workers to bring processing times down to a reasonable level. He pointed to towns in upstate New York and rural parts of the Midwest where elderly residents now have to drive hours just to talk to a caseworker or fix a simple paperwork error. These are not numbers on a spreadsheet, they are people who built the country, and they are now struggling to reach the very system that was designed to support them. One of the most striking parts of Schumer's announcement is the focus on protecting beneficiaries from administrative delays and data breaches. The plan would prohibit outsourcing benefit processing to private companies and ensure that every claim is handled by trained federal employees. It also includes an emergency cost of living payment, an additional $200 per month for 6 months to help seniors cope with rising food, housing, and healthcare costs. That may not sound like much to Washington insiders, but to the retired teacher living on $1,600 a month, or the disabled veteran relying on $1,150 from SSDI, that extra money could mean groceries on the table or prescriptions filled without skipping doses. Schumer emphasized that no senior should ever have to choose between paying for electricity or paying for insulin. This plan also speaks to a deeper problem many Americans have felt for years: the sense that the systems they contributed to through decades of payroll taxes are no longer working as they should. According to data from the Social Security Administration, more than 70 million Americans currently receive benefits, and almost half of them say their Social Security payment is their main source of income. When the system falters, it isn't an abstract budget issue, it's a kitchen table crisis. Schumer referenced stories from his home state of New York where retirees are waiting 3 months just to get a replacement Social Security card or to resolve a benefits suspension that wasn't even their fault. He argued that efficiency and compassion must return to the heart of the program. Beyond staffing and funding, the legislation would also create a public accountability dashboard, allowing Americans to track office wait times and claim backlogs online. Schumer described it as bringing sunlight into a process that's been too dark for too long. The plan would also push for automatic benefit adjustments tied more closely to actual senior expenses, such as medical costs and housing, rather than the general consumer price index. That change could mean a fairer cost of living increase each year, reflecting what older Americans actually spend money on. For people on SSI and SSDI, this is particularly meaningful since their benefits have long lagged behind inflation, forcing many to live on incomes barely above the poverty line. The announcement drew support from senior advocacy groups, veterans organizations, and disability rights advocates, many of whom have been sounding the alarm for years. They note that since 2010, the Social Security Administration's budget has declined by nearly 20% when adjusted for inflation, even as the number of beneficiaries has grown by millions. The result has been a system under strain, where the average disability appeal can take more than a year to resolve. Schumer said that is unacceptable and that his plan would restore both funding and dignity to the process. He added that every person who worked hard, paid into the system, and earned their benefits should be treated with the respect they deserve. While this proposal still faces debate in Congress, it signals a significant shift in how lawmakers are talking about Social Security. Instead of cuts and privatization, the focus is on strengthening and protecting what already works. Economists have noted that Social Security not only supports retirees and disabled workers but also stabilizes local economies, especially in small towns where benefit payments keep grocery stores open and pharmacies running. Every check matters, and every delay has a human cost. Schumer's message was clear: the system is only as strong as its ability to serve those who depend on it. If you are age 50 or older, these changes could affect you directly. They could determine how easily you apply for benefits, how quickly your questions are answered, and whether your payments keep pace with inflation. They could mean shorter lines at your local office, faster processing for disability claims, and more protection for your personal information. For many, that's not politics, it's survival. This plan may be one of the most consequential proposals of the year for retirees and disabled Americans, and understanding what's at stake has never been more important. If this update helps you stay informed about the future of your benefits, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you never miss critical updates like this. Staying connected means you'll always have the facts when decisions are made in Washington that could affect your financial security. For millions of Americans who spent a lifetime working, contributing, and planning for retirement, this new plan could mean that the promise of Social Security remains strong not just for today, but for generations to come. For millions of Americans nearing retirement, this plan represents something more than a policy adjustment, it represents a measure of hope. Over the past several years, seniors have watched prices climb faster than their benefits. The cost of rent, utilities, and especially medical care has pushed many households to the edge. According to federal data, nearly 1 in 4 seniors in the United States now report skipping at least one essential purchase per month just to make ends meet. Schumer's proposal acknowledges this reality, calling for permanent adjustments to the way cost of living increases are calculated. Instead of relying on broad inflation figures that fail to reflect seniors' real expenses, the plan would use what's known as the Elderly Consumer Index, which places greater weight on healthcare, prescription drugs, and home energy costs. It's a small technical change that could have life-changing results for millions. Another key feature of the proposal is the creation of a rapid response benefits system designed to prevent delays during emergencies such as natural disasters or public health crises. During the pandemic, many older Americans went months without benefits simply because SSA offices were closed or workers were overwhelmed. Under Schumer's plan, digital infrastructure would be upgraded to process temporary payments within 72 hours if a recipient's case is delayed by more than 30 days due to federal or regional disruptions. This could mean that a disabled veteran in Texas or a widowed retiree in Ohio would no longer have to wait in financial limbo during times of crisis. Schumer emphasized that the goal is not only modernization but also humanity, ensuring that no American ever falls through the cracks of bureaucracy when help is needed most. The plan also expands oversight of how Social Security trust funds are managed. For years, politicians from both parties have warned that without reform, the trust fund reserves could face shortfalls by the mid-2030s. Schumer's approach doesn't rely on raising the retirement age or cutting benefits. Instead, it seeks to secure the trust fund by lifting the payroll tax cap on earnings above $250,000 per year. That means high-income earners would contribute a fairer share, strengthening the fund without burdening middle-class families. Analysts from the Congressional Budget Office have estimated that such a change could extend the solvency of the trust fund by more than 2 decades. For anyone planning to retire in the next 10 to 15 years, that kind of stability could make the difference between confidence and uncertainty.